Uncle Baa Trawally, a former civil servant, a teacher, a journalist, and he has been into different walks of life during his
That's correct.
active
I will
life.
come to those things.
Yes, so who is Baa Trawally?
Well, I was born in Banjul. My parents came from Janjampure. How they came in those days, in the 30s, in the early 30s. In fact, I was born in the Banjul in the early 30s, so I would say they came in the 20s. But what brought them to Banjul was my grandmother. My grandmother was called Fatimata Jaite. She was part of the family of Sarjan Kante of Janjambure. My grandmother was born in Jarumbe Koto. Jarumbe Koto, where she was born, but she was brought up in Janjambure under the household of Sarjan Kante. I don't know whether it's ring. My grandmother was married to a police sergeant based at Janjambure. When his posting there expired, he was asked to come back to headquarters in Banjul. So he came along with my grandmother and my mother, who was a young little girl at the time. And so my grandmother and my mother were both stationed at the police barracks in Banjul, where a police sergeant also called Musa also wanted to marry my mother. So that was granted, and this is how my mother too was married to a police sergeant. So my grandfather was somebody from Sudan. In those days, there was no Mali, there was no Senegal, there was no Gambia. Perhaps it was in the books, but not known. So what the people would say, Sudan. Sudan. So, and that is the area now occupied by Mali. He was a hunter. He was a hunter and a hunter of elephants. And he came up was doing that's what he was doing. My father too also took his line and was also a hunter. In those days, that was a big profession because you're providing food for the people. So this is how then he came in contact with some European hunters, my father. They came up to Gambia here, and they were upriver around somewhere in the Upper River Division. He met with the European hunters, and he joined them. He joined them, and they found him to be a good marksman. So this is how they encouraged him to stay with them. And when they were leaving for England, to go back to England, they brought him to Banjul, put him in the police force, they handed over to the Commissioner of Police at the time, also European, and because they wanted my father, they wanted to get him in a place where anytime they came back to the Gambia, they would easily find him. So they pushed him in the police station, and as a good marksman, he rose rapidly to the level of a sergeant. That was the highest position the Gambian could get to at the time. You cannot get to an inspector. You cannot get to a commander or to a commander. The highest position you can get to was the sergeant. And later there was then the sergeant, then you have some inspectors in the police force like Inspector Lusak, Inspector Peter Williams, and then you have some other like Esa Juf, Keba Jallo, and some other, But the most senior man, Gambian police officer at the time was Peter Williams. And the next man to him was perhaps Sam Lusak. and then you have some others to come afterwards.
Okay. You mentioned your father's name is Musa.
Musa, my father, and he named me after Musa too, not himself, but my grandmother's husband was called Musa, Sergeant Musa Trawally. So because he was the parent of my mother, so in appreciation, so he named me after that old man. We were two in number, myself and my elder brother. My elder brother left school after leaving school, proceeded to the United Kingdom for higher studies. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. He got ill and was brought back and died around 1954. But I, who was here, because the arrangement was that he should proceed to the United Kingdom to study. He was doing here electricity work. He was working for the electricity department. And he was to go to England, study and come back, and then I too will go to England and study. That was the arrangement we made. Unfortunately, it didn't materialize. He got ill and was brought back to Banjul, and he died. And so I was later brought up. First, I was brought up by my mother was married after the death of my father to a Janjambure, also somebody from Janjambure, some very good people from Janjambure, called the Kamara Kunda, the Kamara family. The Kamara family, the senior man was called Malle Kamara, and his younger brother was Seni Kamara. And Seni took my mother and took me along with my mother. So I was staying with Seni, who took great care of me. He so loved me that he nearly ruined my life. Because what I mean by he nearly ruined my life was that when I was in school, the first school I attended was Roman school. But I was put in that school not by my parents, but by a neighbor. A young boy like me, he was going to school and say, let's go. In those days, you can take anybody anywhere, because there was no control. There was always a vacancy. It's not like nowadays when every school is overcrowded, In those days, you have very few people going to school. So the person that took me to that school was called Mbai. We call him Mbai, but the Christian name is Joseph Jan. Joseph Jan. He took me along with him to the Roman Catholic school. We call it a Roman school at the time. But I left the school. I ran away. Why I ran away was one of the priests, heavily built man, tall, was always at the gate of the school. And anytime I had a glimpse of that school, that priest, I would not go. I would run away. I had a fear for him. I had a fear. I don't know why. Psychologically, I had a fear. In fact, I think that's what one of the reasons why I was successful as a teacher, because I knew my own problem, and that's why I left school. So I knew anytime I found the priest at the gate, I would run away, and I would go to my father, my stepfather, who was very close to the Roman Catholic, because he was working at the CFO. The CFO. He was there. He was working there. So that's not very far from school. I would go to him, but he, rather than taking me back to school, he would say, sit and wait for me. He would sit and ask me to sit and wait for him, and he would buy some meat for me. In those days, we call it dibi.
So by then, who was the inspectors? Were the commanders in the police force were Europeans? Can you remember who was heading the police? When your father was enrolled in the police.
Yeah.
Can you remember the European who was heading the police?
Oh yeah. Then you have, I think, Captain Hill. Captain Hill, and then you have Collins, another man called Collins, and then you have another man called Roberts. You see, those are the three Europeans at the time when we were young in the 30s, in the police force. Captain Hill was the head, and then Collins was next to him, but also in charge of the bands, the bandmen. You know, he was training the bandmen to play the band. And then you have Roberts, who had a motor bicycle, because there was no, he had a motor bicycle going around, trying to find out where there was trouble, you know, where trouble to arrest whosoever was a troublemaker. They call him Roberts. Roberts and Captain Hill, and Captain Hill and Collins. Those are the three Europeans in charge of the Gambia police force at the time. I still remember.
Was your
through my schooling here, and gone to a teacher's training college in Janjambur in 1950. And I was successful. And the people with whom I went to college was John Martins, Joseph Gomez, and Jesse Fye, not Jesse Fye Senior, Jesse Fye Junior, Jesse Fye Junior, and this one Senghor, because called it Senghor. Okay, she's romantic anyhow, called Senghor. I don't know whether he was sponsored by the mission or was a government-sponsored candidate. But we were 8 in number that year at the college. So after the college, after our exam, I got a letter that I had passed my exam, and not only that, but my qualifying number, I still remember. That was in 1951. But I still remember my qualifying number up there was Q250. I was the 250th qualified teacher in the Gambia. I still remember that number, you know. And then I was posted to go to Balangar. And I think I explained some of the problems in Balangar. And then I went after Balangar. I was posted to a South School as head teacher at South School, because the head teacher at South School at the time died. If you perhaps you were young at the time, but there was a catastrophe at the Banjul Barra ferry. It capsized, and a lot of people died in that. A lot of people. 1957. So 57. The head teacher at a South School at the time was Amy Nyang, a very nice young man. I like him. He was a good friend. He unfortunately died in that accident. And I, as a teacher at Balangar, I was moved from Balangar, posted to South School to go and take over South School. So I was in South School. There I was doing some studies also. I sat to my O level at South School, also to teaching and studying. And then I will move to this place, to Kudang, and then back, and then to Gambia, to this place, Camp Island. I was the teacher in charge of the 4th year's English class, first year of the English students on the 4th year of Camp Island School at the time. So after I was there for some time, and then I resigned and got into politics. Resigned from
into politics. Where did you do your high school?
No, the elementary. In those days, you have primary school, you have elementary school, you have high school. Where I went to elementary school and not high school.
So you didn't attend boys' high school?
No, I didn't.
And you said you went to the college in Georgetown.
51.
Where was the college located?
Janjambur.
Is it the present-day Amite School or what?
No. There was Amite School and there was college. There's a teacher's training college. The training college now at Bilkama started at Janjambur. and then Yundum, and then Brikama. It moved, kept on moving. They kept on moving.
Jajambure to Yundum, then to Brikama.
Yeah, that's right. This is how it happened. Yeah. So this is it, and I got into politics, and we founded the PPP. And I will get to that when we get to Janjaweed. But Janjaweed contributed a lot in the formation of the PPP, but Janjaweed is enjoyed very little from the PPP, unfortunately. But Janjaweed found the people of Janjaweed founded the PPP, not Jawara. Not Jawara. People of Janjaweed founded the PPP. I will come to that when we come to Janjaweed.
So, after you have served as a teacher at Balangar, at SAO, also as a headmaster. From there you went into politics.
Kudang school.
Okay. At Balangar, who were your students you can remember now who are living? Your students at Balangar.
Oh yeah, the students.
You can remember still in the civil?
Well, Chorna Ture, are you familiar with that name? There are so many, there's so many, some of them, this man, Ali Ture, he rose to be a commander in the Gambia police force, and several others, I cannot remember all of them, but these people like Gumbo Ture and all those people, Lion Ture, all those people passed through my heart at Balangar, you see.
And in Esau?
So I spent only 4 or 5 years there. But there was this lawyer, Mustafa Maron. I don't know whether you Mustafa Maron, I met him around somewhere in the courthouse years back. He recognized me. I did not recognize him. He came and shook my hand. And said, and introduced himself. He says, hey, call Mustafa Maron. I say, yeah, but I don't know. I cannot. That doesn't ring bell. You have to talk. You have to say more so that I can identify you. He said to me, you put me in school at Ethel. He said it was in fact a good day because it was a big argument between yourself and my father. You wanted me to go to school and my father did not want me to go to school. He said, but in the end you prevailed and you put me in school, and today I'm a lawyer. I say, what? He said, lawyer. I say, lawyer. I say, really? He said, come to my office. Come to my office and see my office. At Mustafa Bolang Sonko was one of the Maja Ture, Maja Sonko, and this was, how do you call it? Landing Jallo Sonko, all those and Omar Sonko, all those boys passed through my hand at SL. Those Sonko boys from SL. Then because the person there at the time, their father was this man, Landing Elo Sonko, Landing Omar Sonko. He was then the treasurer at SL at the time. And there was also somebody you call
the area council or treasurer?
He was then the treasurer, the area council. In those days, they call it district authority. They call it, yes, he was then the. So this is those boys too passed through my hand. And then I went to Kudang. There are a lot of people there who passed through my hand there too.